Hey guys, how you doing? So let's go ahead and get into this. We're going to start doing digestive. Sorry, I didn't mean to move myself there. Sorry, I got to work on my lighting here. This isn't really working out as well as I'd hoped, but we'll get it figured out along the way. Digestion, absorption, and metabolism we're going to discuss right now. About maybe 4 or 5 slides. Make it pretty quick and simple. Okay, so let's get started. Here we go. Digestion. Digestive enzymes break down food into more simple nutrients so they can be absorbed, so that absorption can occur. There we go. I got that out. Sorry. So the enzymes that are in our digestive system are just simply that they're there to start breaking down all these different nutrients that we put into our body, so that our body can actually absorb it. You can't just take meat as a protein and use that. It has to break down into the fine pieces of that protein to be used. So, what is it we're breaking down? Check it out. Here we go. Digestion is nutrition, which is carbohydrates. So, whatever you take in your body, pasta being one of those, is carbohydrates. But you can't just take the noodle and have carbohydrates. It needs to be broken down into its chemical bonds, which are the carbohydrates. Long glucose chains. It's important to remember this, okay? In diabetes specifically, this is long glucose chains that actually help out in this. Fats. A lot of people think that fat is not a good thing. Reality is fat is important. We have to have it. It is our best, our most condensed form of energy. Okay, it's not the best form of energy. Carbohydrates actually the best form of energy. It's the um, most rich and condensed form of energy, and it's something we can tap into when necessary. Proteins is coming from our meats, and proteins are very important to our daily life. Vitamins need to be pulled out. There are water soluble and fat soluble vitamins that we need to understand about. And what that means is certain vitamins have to be taken with water because they absorb and they break down because of water. Others need fats to break them down. Minerals, the different types of minerals that our body actually will need and store within its system itself. And finally, sorry, where did my cursor go? Water. Water is important. I think we all know this. 8 ounces of water a day. Well, excuse me, 8 glasses of water a day is what we should be having. Hopefully, you're doing that during your quarantine. So, absorption. How does this get absorbed? Blood vessels absorb nutrients, except for fat. Fat is not absorbed into the bloodstream from the digestive tract. Doesn't mean we don't have fat in the blood. It does happen, and that unfortunately can be a bad thing. We have plaque buildup inside. But for the most part, blood vessels are what absorb those nutrients, that water out of the large intestine, the minerals and proteins and all those other types of nutritional needs out of the small intestine and other spots in the body where it's pulling that out. Fats are absorbed by the lymphatic system, filtered and then absorbed into the bloodstream. So we do pull that fat into our bloodstream. And again, it is important. The problem is you don't want to take in the bad fats or the uh, over too many fats, basically. You have LDL and you have HDL fats. Okay, one is the good fat, one is the bad fat. Absorption. These nutrients travel in the bloodstream and are delivered to the hungry cells of the body. So as we pull this nutrients out, travels through the blood system, gets close to each individual cell, and then it is actually dispersed into those cells to allow them to actually use that as metabolism, anabolism, building up from intake of nutrients. Think of it as saving. So basically, at this point, we're actually storing this. We're holding on to it and using it another time. Now, this was really important back when we were hunters and gatherers. And what I mean by that is when we actually had to go out and hunt for our food, where we had to go bow and arrow and take down a beast to actually consume later. This is where anabolism really was important because our body was able to store this, knowing that we may not know where the next meal comes from. It may be time. It's going to hold on to what's necessary, use only what's necessary. And that's where fat comes into big play here. Um, fat is a great source of energy, not an efficient sort of energy. It's a great source. And so most people back in the day when we were hunters and gatherers were actually pretty heavy set. They were heavy weight, and that would be considered someone who is actually healthy because that person could go days without eating and use their stored body fat as their energy. Catabolism, breaking down and causing the release of energy and CO2 or carbon dioxide. So we're actually breaking this stuff down and now using it. And as you guys can see, important to know, we are now creating a CO2 or carbon dioxide, which is our waste that we give off. Has everything to do with respiration. We talked about this once before. Respiration is about removing CO2, replacing it with oxygen. We breathe because CO2 rises. And in that metabolism process, we're creating that CO2. Think of it as spending, removing it, using it, spending it wisely. That's the big thing. We want to make sure we spend it wisely. That leaves us here, pathology of the GI system. I'm going to stop there. No need to go any further. We are going to have a couple of questions. And once you guys take care of those questions, make sure those get turned in. Okay. Thank you very much for your time. Talk to you soon.